My name is Vic Torres. I'm from Long Island, New York, here in Wantaw. I'm 32 years old. I'm a former kickboxer and mixed martial artist. I'm a purple belt underneath Matt Serra, and I have my own gym, The Jungle, here. It was almost like a joke at first, The Jungle. Down the block, my buddy, they're the directors of a camp and a school, and it's called Maplewood. And in Maplewood, they have a jungle gym. When we used to start training, that's where we went to. So every Saturday night, we would go to the jungle gym. They had matted floors, so we would go down there and we would go over all the stuff that we learned from the UFC fights that weekend. I honestly think that I was introduced into fighting because of insecurities. When I think I was 15 years old. Somebody cut my mom off, and as he's approaching me, I guess he sees that I'm a young boy, throws me in the car and slams the door on my legs, and I just felt helpless, and I couldn't believe that I couldn't defend my mom. My first fight was in 2008. I fought in Top Kick super fights, and I was facing a guy who was like a man at the time with a city job, and he was a big, strong guy, and I ended up winning. My second fight, I did an MMA fight. It was quite the experience. I ended up winning a triangle choke. You know, MMA, small gloves, no helmet, and in a cage with a guy with everybody screaming at you that you're gonna die. So my third fight was a weird win. I had no headgear on, my opponent had a headgear on, and I ended up kicking him in his kneecap, and I fractured his kneecap, and they had to carry him out of the ring. My fourth fight, one of the toughest fighters I've ever fought. I think he's an amateur fighter, amateur champion, and a pro now in mixed martial arts. So I beat him. It was a very sloppy fight, but it showed me that I had a lot of heart and I could push through adversity. And for me to escape out of there with a win was, you know, very lucky of me. I'm afraid of fighting. Like, I'm afraid to fight. I think that I was drawn to fighting because I was so afraid of it, and I was like, I cannot be this afraid of combat sports. I thought I was a tough guy, but when it comes down to like actually punching someone in the face or thinking somebody's going to punch you in the face or being embarrassed in front of a bunch of people who know you is a rough situation.
From Belmore Kickboxing MMA, wearing black with red, trained by Chris Cordona and Tom Carlo. Here is Victor Torres.
My fifth fight, I allowed everything to get to my head, and I had 200 people show up to my fight. I had t-shirts, sold tickets, did the whole nine, really believing the hype. And I faced a guy named, I think his name is Daryl Dixon. He was really good. I had four people drop out of fighting me that fight camp. So we won up in competition because we couldn't find anybody on my level. I definitely belonged in there with him, but I missed on a left roundhouse kick, and as I was turning around to face him, he hit me with a spinning heel hook to the side of my face and knocked me out. I hit the ground really hard and I started falling out of the ring. The referee had to jump on top of me to make sure that I didn't fall out. It was my first loss. It's probably one of the best things that ever happened to me, though. It lets me know that everybody's not invincible, that I didn't think that I'm not the toughest person in the world and anybody can get knocked out. And it taught me a lot about myself, about getting back up. Got back up, fought again, had a great fight camp. Go in the ring, freeze up as soon as I saw the roundhouse kick come to my face. right in the face, got hit by a shin, got knocked on my butt. Didn't get knocked out, but I just couldn't get back up. I remember hearing the referee count. I couldn't really understand what was going on at the time, and then my brother was in the ring helping me get out. So those 2 losses in a row, I remember crying to my mom outside that I was a terrible fighter, and just crying because I was just very disappointed with myself. This is when I started realizing that there was something wrong with me, that I had multiple sclerosis, but I didn't understand that it was multiple sclerosis. I just started feeling different. I have 11 lesions on my brain and 1 of them on my spinal cord. So I never spent the night in the hospital ever. That was an experience in itself, being in the hospital, not knowing what's going to happen, having them telling you that you're going to be okay while they're telling you you have to be in the hospital for a week, and giving you a spinal tap and giving you shots every day and giving MRIs every day. So I really thought that my life expectancy just went down the shitter. I thought I was going to die at a very young age. And what happened, I was walking from Stu Leonard's, which is like a food shopping area, to my car in the parking lot. It was really hot that day. I get it. It was Saturday, so it was like 100 degrees outside, and I felt something in my chin, and I thought something happened where I got cut on my chin here, and I screamed, and I held my chin. Like, my youngest is like, look, she's about to cry. And I think I'm okay. I don't know what that was. And I had this rush of pins and needles come to my face, and it hurt. And I was like panicking that it was gonna happen again. Like pins and needles, it just going past a certain level where it's just like fucking hurting. I usually experience pins and needles in my hands and my feet. Usually travels up to my knees, and if I look down, it makes it worse. It's very strange how that happens. Heat from the sun triggers it. Emotions triggers it. I'm excited or angry or nervous, it can make it worse. But heat, being in the sun, is the absolute worst problem. So when I get those pins and needles, they can go up to a certain level where it hurts, really hurts, to a level I can't really describe. I'm experiencing MS issues. I have pins and needles in my feet and my right leg pretty badly. So hopefully it doesn't get any worse during our session here. I forget that I have MS quite often, so when I get a symptom like that, and it just reminds me how bad it can go. Even if I have light symptoms, light pins and needles, the stuff that the fatigue, it's not that big of a deal. But when it goes to a point where I scream out of pain, or it's not cool. The mental problems that MS gives me is quite an issue, and I always go on a can and a can't in my head. I always have the can fighting the can't, and with MS, the can't is winning lately, and I don't like that, and I realize it. So I'll be going for a running and telling myself, don't do it while I'm running. My mind is telling me no, and my body is telling me yes, and I have to keep on going through this. I'm going to be happy with myself after, and that if you push through, you're going to beat the MS. And I always say that the MS tells me to stop and don't do stuff and don't be active. The doctors tell me to sit down and don't be active, and the worst thing you could do is don't be active. got a nice punch in the face from my boy Joe. Right upcut. And then I couldn't even tell you what the other punch was. That fucking rocked my ass. Just happy I came back. I experienced some other symptoms of being unbalanced and stuff, but the physical stuff is not comparable to the mental. I don't take any medication for my MS for about 4 or 5 years, and it's all because of jiu-jitsu. Being involved with fitness and being a personal trainer is a dream come true for me. I always struggled with school and learning, and having people come to me for my knowledge and I can help them better their lives that's always what I want to do. I always wanted to help people. I always wanted to be on the side of a coach or a mentor or somebody to look up to.
I think we just kind of bring it back down like there, right? And then rip it over that way. Exactly.
I always wanted to be a trainer from day one. I always wanted to be the person holding the mitts. I always wanted to be like, I can't wait until I'm the person who has experience enough where I can hold the mitts for fighters and they respect me enough. Prodigy's my boy from World's Gym. When I first met him, I think he was like 12 or 11. He was half the size that he is now. He's so good at the focus mitts and so good at understanding what I'm trying to display and what I'm trying to get to him. And he just understands it quicker than most people who I've ever trained before. And Danny and I had an interesting start to World's Gym in Wantagh. That's a gym where I teach a kickboxing class a couple times a week. It's just so great that I get to be a part of his ride. You know, he's the fighter, he's the guy right now, and he's learning jiu-jitsu. So put that all together, it's going to be a dangerous guy. Danny's first fight meant a lot to me because it was my first time really coaching somebody who wasn't a family member or like a long-time best friend, but I was there to be a corner man and help my fighter.
Two, 3, 2, 2 up, 2, red bag. Dang, you're up. Hands up.
I'm not gonna give multiple sclerosis the credit to saying that it stopped me from being a fighter. I stopped myself from being a fighter. I had children, wife, the whole nine, all the excuses in the whole entire world to say that I wasn't a fighter. I'm just not good enough of a fighter to become a pro MMA fighter or a UFC fighter. It's just, to be honest with you, I'm good at being an amateur fighter, there's no doubt about it. I have a passion for it, but I have to be realistic with myself, and to use MS, to give MS the credit that it stopped me from being a fighter, no way, it's not gonna happen. I'm the reason why I'm not a fighter anymore, and I chose that.
It's tickling me, I don't know why I'm saying ow.
I always thought that I was going to be some hardcore parent, one of those terrible parents. I actually thought that I was going to be that when I was younger. The worst thing for me as an athlete when I was younger growing up, was having parents yell at me. I don't want to do that. I never want to make my kids hate having fun. And Peyton, she always got my back with my MS. She always reminds me that I can't go in the sun, right? She draws me pictures of the beach because I can't go there, so she lets me know how the beach looks. Right, Bane?
Regular fighting positions. Ow, I hurt my knuckles. Chicken knuckles.
My wife was there every step of the way with my fighting career for all the ups and downs. I mean, it had to be really rough for her, for me to be all moody, come home being beaten up, pretty much for no reason, because her husband had aspirations of being a fighter, and he was, you know, pretty much not gonna better himself and financially.
Do you miss Vic fighting at all?
No, because it was scary. He would fight and I would watch it and I would feel like this pit in my stomach the whole time. I mean, it was exciting because he'd always win, so it was always fun after to celebrate. But while that fight was happening, it was probably the scariest times of my life, for sure. But I like him being home, being around you. He's definitely home more with the kids. And they like that, right, girls?
Yes.
I know.
So after that, with the MS, with the 2 knockouts, I kind of just put my tail in between my legs and hung up the gloves. But I always just had that feeling of my last fight being a loss, and it really weighed in on me. I couldn't go out that way. I had Chris Cardona, Belmore Kickboxing owner and promoter, hit me up and just asked me if I wanted one day to take a fight. And without asking anybody's permission, I just said yes to it. Took the fight on 4 weeks' notice. And I was just like, this is it. This is gonna be my last fight. Start realizing that there's life after fighting, and which is kind of hard because I just thought that I was just going to be a fighter. That's how I was going to be. But I was creative enough to twist it to a way that I can grow a business out of it, and so I can continue, hopefully, owning my own school and doing it up that way. But for right now, I can say I'm towards the prime of my career, and I'm on the down. So it's just, you know, figuring out ways of creating business and teaching the martial arts that I love to do. And my dad used to have a 1980 Corvette in the garage. He had his weights to the side. There was no mats, no nothing here. It was like an auto body man's man. I just told my dad, you know, I'm gonna buy mats for the garage. and he sold his 1980 Corvette so I can continue my dream. You know, somebody told me one day, you find what you love and then find how to get paid for it. So that's exactly what I did. This is the jungle, and this is where it happened.